The Shameless Picture Show is part of the Cinepunks Network. If you like The Shameless Picture Show and you want to hear other great shows like it, make sure you check out the Cinepunks Network. You can find them at www.cinepunks.com. That's CINEPUNX. There's other great shows such as Cinepunks. There's The Carnage Report, Cinema Smorgasbord, Fat Girl Hacks, Loud, Fast, Philly, Tomb of Ideas, and Twitch of the Death Nerve, and so much more. If you like punk rock and you like movies, make sure to go to www.cinepunks.com. And let's not forget the sponsors for the Cinepunks Network. We have the Lehigh Valley Apparel Creations. They are the premier screen printer of the Lehigh Valley with service to the whole country, professional and personable in a way that only a DIY business can be. They also have ridiculously low prices for whatever your screen printing needs may be. You can visit them online at xlvacx.com. That's xlvacx.com. Lehigh Valley Apparel Creations. We also have the Essex Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted to order. They have high quality beans, bunch of apparel, and tea available. They are bringing high quality coffee to the masses without the pretentiousness. Use the code CINEPUNKS for 10% off your first order. You can visit them at www.essexcoffeeroasters.com. That's ESSEX, coffeeroasters.com. Once again, use the code CINEPUNKS for 10% off your first order. This episode is also brought to you by Paramount Pictures. Paramount Pictures is a legendary producer and global distributor of filmed entertainment since 1912. Paramount Pictures' library consists of more than 1,000 film titles with rights to an additional 2,500, featuring films by Hollywood's most respected filmmakers, including Martin Scorsese, J.J. Abrams, and Michael Bay, among others. Paramount Pictures' library consists of more than 1,000 films, including such classics as Star Trek, Godfather, and Indiana Jones franchises. Academy Award winners Braveheart, Forrest Gump, and Titanic, and current favorites such as the Mission Impossible and Transformers franchises. Paramount Pictures distributes its titles on DVD and Blu-ray through Paramount Home Entertainment. We are happy to have them. We fucking love Paramount Pictures.
Good evening. I'm Luce, and on dark and eerie nights like this, I can't help but think about Halloween. I'm so sick of Halloween celebrations being limited to a few weeks out of the year. That's why I created It's Always Halloween, a year-round podcast on which I'll dive deep into the dark history of our favorite horror-filled holiday. Each episode will explore one specific custom, fear, or fright, inspired by my own curiosity and listener queries. If you have a Halloween question you need answered or just want to share a Halloween memory, call my All Hallows hotline at 802-532-DEAD. Or you can write me an email at it'salwayshalloweenpodcast@gmail.com. Tune in if you dare.
This movie podcast actually discusses movies. Be aware that it may discuss any of the following elements: endings, surprise twists, unexpected cameos, and all manner of spoilers. If this doesn't appeal to you, why listen to a movie podcast? Without further ado, please enjoy our feature presentation, The Shameless Picture Show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Shameless Picture Show. I am your host, Michael Viers, and today I am delighted to be joined by two exceptional guests. First, making his sixth appearance on our show is one of my dearest friends and a true connoisseur of the horror genre, Austin Proctor, host of the Frightmares Podcast.
Hello.
Hello, Austin. However, that's not all. We are also honored to welcome back Jason Hillman for his second appearance on this show.
Oh my gosh.
Jason is Oh, and I cut down your intro, but I still kept some zest in there.
Okay.
Jason is a modern Renaissance man, juggling an array of projects with an admirable zeal and a touch of exhaustion. In addition to his roles as a dynamic speaker and stand-up comedian, he is a talented writer, director, photographer, and he co-hosts the Dead-Eyed Millennial Film Club, available now on all podcast platforms of choice.
That was zesty. That was a zesty little intro there. Thank you. Hi,
You're welcome.
so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me on this, the holy grail of my personality for like 6 years.
Only 6?
At least the aesthetic parts.
Jason, at this point, it's my goal to track your history through cinema on this podcast. Because first I had you on for Punch Drunk Love, which we got to see the romantic side of Jason Hillman. And now we get to see the other side to that romantic coin in The Crow. And I just want to just keep tackling your personal history through cinema.
Oh, they're the same movie. But that's fine. That's fine. I can make that argument some other time. Punch Drunk Love and The Crow, they're coming from the same place. Oh, Austin, yeah, I'm going to leave it hanging there. Doing, absolutely, buddy? Yeah.
There was more to that. I was like, is there more? No? Okay.
No, yeah, there's another episode about that. They're just about, guys finding strength they never knew they had to defend the honor of the people they love. One just punches harder.
That tracks.
And sadly... I love Michael Wincott, but Philip Seymour Hoffman as a top dollar is something we can only dream of, and I will now dream of it and fantasize about that. Yeah.
Thanks.
Bringing that Mission Impossible energy.
Shut up! Shut up!
Yeah.
Austin, at the time of this recording, have you seen Punch Drunk Love?
Yes, I have. I watched it before I edited that episode.
So before we start on the episode at hand, tell me your just initial thoughts on Punch Drunk Love.
Oh, man. Completely different Sandler than I think I've ever seen. I don't think he's made another movie similar to that one tonally, in my opinion. I think it's completely different. Yes, he's done some serious roles, but like that one was so different. And he brought something to that character that I just really enjoyed. He wasn't his traditional self. He just brought a different side of Sandler. And I was pretty much captivated from the opening 5 minutes. And it grabbed a hold of me and then never let me go. And I just felt I loved it. It was so good.
Now, were you a fan of his? Have you been a fan of his? You've seen all of his movies and, you've kind of followed the whole Sandler verse?
Pretty much. I mean, I know there's a few gaps in that history. I know I haven't seen like Funny People.
Oh, Funny People's a very good one.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I've seen the Grown Ups, but I'd say I'd probably seen about 75% of his catalog. So, yeah, I'm a big Sandler fan, and I can't believe I had never seen that one until this year, and I'm glad I finally watched it because it was fucking stellar.
That is crazy how, especially after 20 years of Sandler, because even at the time it was mind-blowing. And if you listen to that episode, I guess it's we talked about that. Like even at the time, even after like 3 huge movies and his time on SNL, it was still like, this is a side of Sandler we've never seen. We almost don't believe it's happening. It was hard for people to wrap their heads around it. Now, even after all this time, it's still so identifiably Sandler, though, even after all of the other stuff that he's done, right? Like, it's still so Sandler-y. Because even like the guy from Uncut Gems is the same guy as Barry Egan. It's like it's still so quintessentially Adam Sandler, and it holds up.
That movie was that performance for Sandler was so good. Even Roger Ebert went on to say that he can't watch a Adam Sandler performance the same way ever again.
Good, and that was that time period when Adam Sandler was like, "I want to be taken seriously." They did kind of, and they kept denying him the accolades he deserved. And he was like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to go make movies with my friends and sign deals that make me $10 million for sneezing. We're going to go hang out in Hawaii with Jennifer Aniston and Rob Schneider. You can come. That's fine. And...
I guess.
Yeah. And then occasionally he's gonna pop up. He did the Meyerowitz stories, which is another one that's just incredible and just so subtle, but so powerfully Sandler.
Hell, even something like The Cobbler, he is very good in that movie.
I like that one. It's not great, but it's fun. Like,
People keep recommending me to The Cobbler, and I feel like people is just Michael. And
me now. You can add me to that
I got
list.
you. Okay, two people in the world have recommended The Cobbler to me, and that's not a lot, but it's more than have been in the last 8 years since it came out.
It is like, I feel like me and Austin are the only people recommending The Cobbler. Like, I don't even feel like the director is being like, you guys should go watch The Cobbler.
Who was that again? I remember every time I hear it, it shocks me.
The director?
I'm looking it up.
Tom McCarthy.
Oh, okay.
And what did he do
beat me to it.
afterwards?
After The Cobbler, I mean, I don't know if these are after, but he did something called Spotlight. He did something
Fucking
called
Spotlight.
He did direct Spotlight.
He's the guy who did,
And he did something
Spotlight.
called-
Oh,
He also wrote Christopher Robin.
Okay, that's
Oh.
also like that's a weird good movie. And then the fucking Cobbler.
He directed Win-Win with Paul Giamatti.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's also in movies too. I didn't know he was an actor, but he Lovely Bones, 2012, Pixels, Baby Mama, Meet the Parents. So Michael
Little
Clayton.
Fockers.
Yeah, that was next on my Little Fockers.
You know, I've never seen
yeah.
Little Fockers. I never saw the end of that dynamic trilogy.
I never
think
did
you're better off for it.
Never saw the return
I saw
of
1
the...
and 2, and I was like, no, I don't think I need to see the third one.
Yeah. I feel like this story's been told.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. We didn't even need a sequel, but we got one. It was fine. I like it. I don't need to see the third one.
However, if they at any point greenlight a legacy sequel for the Fockers, like
Oh, yeah.
Grow the Fuck Up or something.
Grow
about-
the fuck up.
God damn
Yeah,
it,
about
that's
the,
good. That's so good.
Grow the Fuck Up. Bring back Robert De Niro. I'd watch the shit out of that.
Look who's fucking
That
now.
title just... Oh!
Fucking hell.
Oh, Grow the Fuck Up just came to me, but I think Look Who's Fucking Now might be better.
Well, I mean, that crosses over with the Look Who's Talking universe. And we finally get we get John Travolta. He finally, he doesn't seem like he's doing a lot these days. So get him.
I'll say we can get Bruce Willis, but I don't think we
The
can.
Kirstie Alley hologram.
Yeah.
Can make
Or
it
just get a better Kirstie Alley.
Have you ever seen the Look Who's Talking movies?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Those movies were like staples.
Yeah, they
of
were.
my
They
childhood. They
are.
were always on.
Like really just like of the era where it's like, one of the babies talked and they were completely articulate and their faces didn't move. We were really about just like not even bothering. Remember The Longest Journey, or what was that with the animals, with the cat and the dog?
Homeward Bound,
Homeward
The Incredible
Bound.
Journey.
We just had those animals just talking, but nothing, their lips didn't move. We just kind of followed them around with a camera.
Yeah.
And like changed
give you guys
lives.
Can I give you guys a fun fact about Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey?
Absolutely.
The movie was directed by, which I love this name, Duane Dunham. It's Duane, not Dwayne. It's D-U Wayne. Duane Dunham. Duane, I said that weird.
Duane Dunham.
Who best known for being the guy under the helmet for Boba Fett in Star Wars originally, was assistant editor on Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back, and then would go on to be an editor at Wild at Heart, direct Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey, and as well as was one of David Lynch's go-to guys for Twin Peaks to direct. But then was also making like Little Giants and shit. So
Oh God, Little Giants. Fucking.
You're talking about with Rick Moranis
and like
and Ed
Halloween
O'Neill?
Town.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, that takes me back to
We're
just
talking
a
about
video
The
store.
Little Giants.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
With The Little Giants.
What a
Was that
Oh, yeah.
94?
Yeah.
94.
So
yeah.
like you go from like fucking Star Wars and fucking Dragon Slayer and shit like that. Got your big opportunity to direct with Homeward Bound, but then was before that got your big opportunity because you were directing Twin Peaks, and someone at Disney was like, "Give that fucking man a talking dog."
With Michael J. Fox and other people, I can't remember.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Roseanne Barr was in there. Or am I
Yeah,
thinking of
she
Look
was.
Who's Talking? Because Danny did.
Ooh, actually, you might be. No, you're right. It was Gene Smart in Homeward Bound. It was Roseanne Barr, and look who's talking.
Okay.
It came full circle.
Ooh,
Oh, Sally Field.
sassy
She
cat.
was sassy.
Yeah.
Sassy.
But we're not here to talk about Homeward Bound. We're not here to talk about Adam Sandler. We're here to talk about another movie. Talking about it again.
About animals.
We'll explain that in just a second. Yes.
On a journey.
Sort of. This evening, we delve into a film that has mesmerized audiences and Jason since its debut. Alex Proyas, The Crow. This visually stunning and striking and emotionally charged film transports us to a dark, rain-drenched city where love and vengeance converge in a tale of supernatural retribution. The story follows Eric Draven, a rock musician resurrected by a mysterious crow to avenge the brutal murder of himself and his fiancée. As Eric emerges from the shadows to confront those responsible, the film explores profound themes of grief, justice, and the enduring power of love. Upon its release, The Crow quickly established itself as a darkly poetic entry into the early 1990s cinematic landscape, a period notable for its emerging, alternative, and genre-defying films. Critics were captivated by its distinctive visual style. The film's atmospheric cinematography, paired with a brooding soundtrack featuring artists like The Cure, who just released their first album in 15 years, and Nine Inch Nails, solidifies its status as a quintessential piece of gothic cinema. Based on the underground comic of the same name by James O'Barr, who created it to cope with the sudden death of his wife, the comic is infused with raw anger and grief. Proyas and his team strive to bring O'Barr's vision to life in a way that was both cinematic and true to its original concept. The film's reception was deeply affected by the tragic death of its star Brandon Lee, who was accidentally killed during production. This somber context added a layer of poignancy to Lee's performance, which was widely praised for its emotional depth and intensity. But, despite having faced mixed reviews initially, even despite its glowing reviews by some critics, particularly concerning its plot and pacing, The Crow gradually built a devoted following. Its exploration of themes such as love, loss, and retribution resonated with audiences, leading to its celebration for its unique blend of supernatural elements and urban gothic style. Its influence is evident in its lasting impact on both the comic book genre and the broader realm of dark fantasy cinema. The Crow also spawned a legacy that includes additional comics, 3 sequels, a television series, and a 2024 reboot starring Bill Skarsgård and FKA Twigs. The film features Brandon Lee, Ernie Hudson, Michael Wincott, Bai Ling, David Patrick Kelly, Rochelle Davis, and Sophia Shenza Shelley. The cinematographer by Darius Volsky, music by Graham Revell, and a screenplay by David J. Shaw and John Shirley. The Crow is based on James O'Barr's comic book and directed by Alex Proyas, released in 1994. This is The Crow.
People once believed that when someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead. But sometimes, just sometimes, the crow could bring that soul back to put the wrong things right.
You're all going to die.
Is that gasoline I smell?
Victims, aren't we all?
And this is the second time we're doing this
Love
episode
it.
because I'm a fucking dumbass and I lost the episode.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's par for the course with this property. You know, you gotta get put down, and then you gotta rise, more powerful than before, more opinionated than before, and stronger than you've ever been. to avenge the loss that almost felled you forever. It's as romantic as the film, and as the story is as strong, I think. So I think that we're exactly where we need to be for such a tale, what's an incredible journey of a man homeward bound.
Full circle, baby.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Tying it all together.
Very well done.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Oh,
So normally on this show, and I'm just fucking raw dogging life on this episode because I have no idea the best way to go about this because we've done this all before. So normally, you know, we will talk a little bit about our personal histories of it, especially because one of us hasn't seen it. But at this point, all of us have seen it.
Great.
But Austin, you rewatched it, didn't you?
I did, just because I'd only seen it one time. You know, I'm 34, so one time in 34 years, and I wanted to have it fresh in my head before we did the episode again. So I watched it this morning, and I enjoyed it the first time and enjoyed it equally, if not more, the second time. So,
All right.
Yeah.
Well, tell me, even though I've asked you all this before, tell me a little bit. So I know you haven't seen The Crow, but The Crow is one of those seminal films that I feel like so many people just end up seeing at a relatively young age. Were you actively avoiding The Crow? Or did it just not cross your desk? Tell me a little bit about your history. Did you know, was The Crow relevant in your life? Were you familiar with it? You know, is Gabby a fan of it? Tell me, let's dig a little deeper.
Yeah, no, so it's one of those movies that never was in like a friend group. No one ever was like, hey, we should watch this. And that's kind of a major thing in my life. You know, there's a lot of these big movies that I haven't seen, like The Crow, and it's because of my environment. You know, yes, at a certain age, I knew of its existence. It just didn't really appeal to me. I don't know why. Probably because I was a stuck-up snob in my 20s that thought I was better than everyone when it came to film and had all these strong opinions. And I still have strong opinions now, but they're much more focused. And so it just never came across my desk, if you want to say that. And
I do.
Yeah, it never came across my desk. Never went out and, I didn't seek it out on my own. But like I said, I'd probably say by the time I was in high school or, in my early 20s, I'd heard about it. And it's crazy because I didn't know anything about it until I watched it. Didn't have any spoilers happen. I just knew it was basically a tale of revenge, and that was pretty much it. So going into this, I had no clue what to expect. The only thing I knew is that there is a massive fan base for this movie. And I think at a certain time, I found out about how much of a cult following it had. And it's one of those movies that the fan base is very intense about, like Nightmare Before Christmas. And it came to a certain point where it's like, okay, I want to watch this now, but I'm afraid if I don't like it, people are going to ridicule me for it because everyone loves it. So I kind of avoided it for a few years. And then you were like, we're going to do an episode on The Crow. And I was like, I think it's the perfect time to make this happen. So that is my history in a nutshell with The Crow.
I'm gonna tell you.
It's funny. Oh no, continue, Jason.
An interesting way to jump in to that, to how the quality of this thing and how it holds up is right there. Is a lot of times you'll go back. People will talk about a movie for decades, for years, and you'll go back and you'll be like, that's fine, because you'll watch a movie. I had this with Blade Runner. I went back. I'd seen The Ghost in the Shell. I'd seen The Matrix, Dark City, so on and so forth. Dark City, which we'll probably touch on later. But I had seen what had ripped off Blade Runner, and I didn't enjoy it as much. I love Blade Runner 2049, masterpiece of the modern age. I think it's a better movie. But if I had seen Blade Runner when it came out, it would have blown my goddamn mind. It would have melted the circuits in my brain. With The Crow, it feels like if you haven't seen it by now, if you'd go back and you'd watch it and it would just be like of its time. And while it is of its time, my thesis is like it is of its time, but it's so rooted in its fantasy elements that it's kind of timeless, and it kind of holds up better than a lot of movies from back then, even the big ones, because I think it holds up as well as Jurassic Park in terms of its genre representation. It's wacky.
Okay,
It's wacky that how well it holds up in specific genre, because it doesn't really have anything to date it like a lot of our favorite movies from back then.
And that's a fair point. Like, there's nothing that really looked or sounded like The Crow. Like, now, like, you can look at, say, you look at the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy, and it's like, well, this man fucking saw The Crow. It's very
yeah.
Why
Crow serious? Okay, I'm sorry.
But comic book movies didn't look like the closest thing you had to The Crow was the Tim Burton Batman movies, because at the time Tim Burton was the only one doing kooky dark shit, and even then it's like I feel like people forget at his core Tim Burton is a comedy director, like first and foremost in a lot of ways.
The Batman is so dark though. Batman is so I honestly man cannot believe he got away with not only one but two of those things. Well, he kind of didn't get away with the second one, but I mean, he went out with a bang. That movie is fucking insane.
Yeah. Is probably Batman Returns is probably still my favorite Batman movie. Period.
Wow. Okay.
And
it's up there. It's up there.
I see it. It's good, and that's been my impression of the Penguin, especially. Like that's what an interpretation of that character. Although the Batman's coming in hot on read reviews over time, so and the Penguin is a masterpiece of a show, so it's kind of guys, it's nostalgia is being beat by recency bias, but that's another story for another time.
One thing I wanted to touch on before I get Jason's history with The Crow is, Austin, you talked about the people who just kind of made a personality off of The Crow. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because around the time that I got my review copy in from Paramount Pictures for The Crow, I want to say about a month earlier, they sent me Mean Girls. And I was like, here's two spectrums, two different sides of the spectrum of people who chose a movie to base their personality off of. And then you know what came the month after? Fucking Anchorman.
Oh my God.
Pretty much like everyone's personalities in our age group is based on one of those fucking movies.
I'm gonna tell you an Anchorman story. I knew.
Okay, please do.
I knew that I was growing up and growing out of shit out of a very specific time period of my life when I was like with my family for the last time. I think we were all together in this room, and I was like, it'd be a fun family movie, Anchorman. That shit's hilarious. I love Anchorman. That's a core part of my personality and my core group of my friends. We use it as, our personality. It's hilarious. Let me share this with my family. And I've never sat in a more profound silence for 2 hours with a group of people in my lifetime. And it was just like that kind of moment where like I wore Jinkos. Yeah, I'm not afraid to say that. And then one day I walked outside and I was like, not today, Satan. And I put on like sweatpants and went and bought pants that fit. And that's how I felt about Anchorman after a while. It is hard to fucking watch Anchorman now for me. It just doesn't hit the same way. I completely get that. Just like sometimes the hits don't hit the same way. Like the Coke just doesn't hit the same way. I don't know. Anchorman. And the second one's even worse. Boy, is it worse.
If you can believe it, Anchorman 2 was me and Amanda's first date movie.
Well, in that capacity, by all means, it's a masterpiece. It's wow. Wow!
I chose it because I was trying to choose something safe because I didn't know where her taste in film lied. And before we actually went and had our first date, I was inviting her out to everything, just to see if she would go out with me. And she wasn't turning me down because she wasn't interested. She just, schedules weren't aligning, and because it was around the holidays that we met each other. And like I remember distinctly asking her, like there was a film showing at the local theater. I was like, "Hey, do you want to go see this with me?" And she wasn't able to make it. And I think back at that, and it's like, you know what? It's probably good that she didn't come with me to this movie because she probably would have thought I was a serial killer because the theaters had re-released Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh hell yeah, though!
And that would have been our first interaction with each other.
Put that shit
was
right on the
Silent
table,
Night
dude.
in person.
Yeah.
Would have been Silent Night, Deadly Night. And she's like, I love that movie now because of you. That would have been a bad first date movie. I was like, yeah, I admit that.
Oh, you would have had me over with that one. Silent Night, Deadly Night as a first date. I'm just saying.
I would have been married
man.
to Austin right now if that would have happened.
In a different world.
Yeah.
Jason,
This is why the multiverse exists.
I know
guys.
you.
Yeah.
There is a version where Michael and Austin are married, and we have hot dog fingers like in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That movie kind of dropped out of the fucking public consciousness. That fucking beautiful kaleidoscope of a
It's
film.
so fucking. Oh, I think about that movie at least like 2 or 3 times a week.
Amen.
So good.
Amen.
All right, Jason,
What's up?
you love The Crow.
I do.
I know how much you love The Crow. We've talked about it. We've talked about it off mic. You lent me your comic book, which I can finally give back to you when I finally see you again. You're a big fan of this movie. We did a whole episode on it, and now we're doing another one. Tell me about your history with The Crow, my friend.
Boy, howdy. Well, it kind of hit me at a perfect time. I was.
Oh yeah, it did.
My childhood wasn't great. I moved around a lot. There was a lot of like catharsis through, grindhouse, grimy horror movies and like kung fu movies and like Bruce Lee movies and Bruce Lee movies and Bruce Liu movies and just this entire genre of kung fu leading into
And
like the
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Don't forget about your stepdad.
Oh, hold on. You right as I was getting into that, just moving into the Van Damme era, into the Seagal era, into the best of the best era. Yeah, Van Damme. Super into that guy. Definitely tried to convince my mother to divorce my father and just my soft, unfight worthy, unstreet fight worthy father. You got a medical degree. Can you do the splits? You can't hit the skids. There's a new dad in town. Dude, I was a fucking snot about it too. I remember distinctly being in Philly once, and it was just like dark. We're walking down alleyways, like the opening of Batman '89. And I was like, "See, you'd feel a lot better if you were married to Van Damme right now." Anyways,
I love you, Jason.
I love me and you and all who are listening. Thanks, guys. So anyways, I was into just like it's real grimy, like real fighty, like real the theatricality of it as well. I kind of had a passing idea of Brandon Lee's ascension at the time. Rapid Fire was cool. I loved Showdown in Little Tokyo. But also I was like a moody, like young dude who was super into poetry and like being dramatic and like my favorite poem was like Ozymandias, look upon you works ye mighty in despair type shit. Just like really dramatic and emo and dark and is trying to find an aesthetic for my actual mood. And, I was in video stores a lot. And, one of the things I miss about modern experience acquisition in terms of movies is like, I didn't see a trailer for this thing. I just saw the box for it, and I was like, this Brandon Lee, oh wow, oh what is this, oh this looks so great. And I took it home, watched it, and just like it changed my life. It's like literally all of the elements that all of the things I loved all at once. It's my first Everything Everywhere All at Once. Because there was kind of like, I loved violence and I loved martial arts but I loved also, with no concept of what love actually is. Your concept of it is only through your art, when you're young. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it is romantic. It is poetic. It is oozing technique to the degree where it's like this thing is just fun to watch. Soundtrack was incredible because I was listening to all of those bands disparately at the time, and then they're all on the same fucking album. Okay, everything about it just pops, and it just hit me at the right time. Now, and I just watched it over and over and over again. I did own a copy of it, and I honestly, I mean, I don't know if we want to get into that now, but the sequels.
We can get into things whenever the fuck we feel like it.
Sure. I think we've been there's something. It is a perfect for what it's doing. It is like a perfect movie. I think its legacy is kind of weird, just because it's just a grindhouse movie that was elevated by technique and people taking it seriously. But it's just a grindhouse movie, just like a revenge flick. But we've basically been chasing that high ever since. Of the first film, and it just never works, and it's not. I don't think it's ever going to work again. Because I just watched the remake recently to get a feel for it again, and it's just, you
rewatched the remake.
It's so funny. It's one of the funniest movies I've seen. The funniest accidentally funny movies I've seen in years, man. The ending, I literally when. The crow flies across the camera, and he's like, "It's enough for now." And the crow flies across the camera, and it does that almost Creed music drop. I laugh so hard, uncontrollably.
Oh, when that happened, so when the movie was playing, I remember turning to Amanda. It's like, this feels like the type of movie that would end with a Creed song or something new metal, and then that fucking moment happened. I just looked at her and be like, I was right.
When a hero whatever the fuck Spider-Man stuff. Anyways, it hit me at just the right time, man. It just there's just something that was so uniformly of that's Jason Hillman. And the book, I got into the book as a result of it, and the book is just as much of that. It's just an authentically beautiful, poetic, violent thing.
If anything, the book is even more angry.
Yeah, well, the book is coming from an authentic... The problem with subsequent versions of this thing is that the authenticity of that pain gets diluted. So you have the book, and it's just filled with rage. It's just a jelly donut of rage. It's just this... On the surface level, it's got this beautiful artistic style, and it's got this like real interesting writing. But in the center of that is this gooey, creamy rage. And so you have that, and then you have the script, and you have this movie, and it's a real interesting distillation of that narrative, of that story, and it's good, but it's still glossy, like it's a movie version of it. And then we just keep trying to do it over and over and over again. And by the time we got to I felt nothing except that kind of contemptuous hilarity bubbling in my gut when I was watching the new one, because it's not coming from anywhere. And all the comics and all the movies and all this TV shows and all this nonsense, it doesn't come from that place anymore. So that's why it's hard to replicate.
No, you're absolutely right. Like, because when I watched The Crow most recently, the original Crow, I'm getting all the things that responded to me when I was younger. Like when I was younger, when I was probably in middle school or high school when I first saw this movie, the idea of a dude sitting shirtless on a roof shredding on a guitar probably is like the sexiest fucking thing, the coolest fucking thing anyone can do. And I look at it now, I'm like, man, young me really responded to shit like that. But it's weird watching the new one because I don't necessarily want this to be a complete hit piece on the new one.
But I mean, the contrast is there. Weird. It's demanding it. It's asking for it.
It is, because you look at the remake. Jason, you always remember his name. What's the name of the fucking guy that made the remake?
Rupert Sanders.
So Rupert Sanders, it's clear he has seen the movie. But it's even more clear that he's read the comic book. because there's elements from the comic book all throughout The Crow. Little things like the story of the horse at the beginning, or even the needle drops that he uses is straight out of the comic book. Like that Joy Division song is straight out of the comic book. I want to say the Gary Newman song was mentioned also in the comic book. But for someone who clearly knows the world that The Crow came from, he's read the James O'Barr book, he has seen Alex Proyas's version, he has a complete fundamental misunderstanding of the character. And he just doesn't. I feel like he read the comic book and was really into the violence of it, and it's like let's make a John Wick movie instead of like a love torn fucking revenge film.
I mean, that's essentially the problem with all of them, is they kind of convolute. They make of the plot a kind of convoluted mess, because it's a simple tale. That's why the first one works, because no one really sits around and talks too much. The plot doesn't sit around to try to explain itself too much, because when you start thinking about it, it's pretty ridiculous. Again, why it doesn't work. I mean, one of the things that I've realized is when I've watched and I went through all of them again, just sparingly over the last year, is that, I mean, broadly speaking, the thing is just so ridiculous. But everyone is doing something, is everyone's technique, the filmmaking, the music choices elevates it to such a degree. But when you try to replicate that, I was talking about The Crow so much at one point, I guess my algorithm decided to put me to have the Reddit subreddit The Crow pop up on my shit. So every now and then I get like a snapshot of people doing Crow cosplay, and it looks stupid. For the most part, it looks real bad. You know what I mean? Like, it just, no matter how you try to spin it, no matter how you try to slice it, in Salvation, they try to burn it in their face. It just looks dumb and bad. Except for Brandon Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Brandon Lee. For some fucking reason,
Brandon Lee,
he is so perfectly, like, he is so beautiful. And he is surrounded by a film that is so beautiful that for 90 minutes, this ridiculous shit isn't as ridiculous as it should be. And again, we've been chasing that high ever since, and we try to replicate it, and it just looks silly. It's silly.
It does.
And
it does. And
not in that context, because they create that reality for you pretty quickly.
And you keep talking about the beauty of The Crow, and I feel like that's really what Alex Proyas is bringing to this original film. It's not to say James O'Barr's original comic's not beautiful. It has its own beauty in its own way. But like I said, when I read it most recently, what was coming through that page was the pain and the aggression.
Right.
Which is what James O'Barr was feeling.
Right.
And it's not to say that stuff's not in the Crow movie, but there is this beautiful longing that comes in the movie that is also with his pain and his hurt. And if I would have read The Crow and the movies didn't exist and someone was like, make a Crow movie, a darkly gothic love story is not where my head would have went. But those are the things that I respond to. Like that scene of him crawling out of the grave is one of the best things that Alex Proyas has ever shot. And that man made Dark City. So
that's just I mean, you bring up the longing, and I think that that's important. You know, you brought up that the reason I responded to it is like the scene when he's on the rooftop playing the guitar. You know, that's badass. That's so cool. He's shredding the guitar. He's also so lonely. You know, I think what Brandon Lee really gets, and what a lot of copycats don't get, and what a lot of the comic books don't get, and what a lot of they just not getting, is like the mania of being alive, of being reborn, of being ripped from your restful slumber and thrown back into the world. And it's like, wake up. It's like in basketball where he like dude's tucked in, all comfortable. He's like, wake up, bitch! You're my new best friend. He just pulls him out, and that's what the quote unquote skeleton cowboy. Where that's what the bird does. It just wakes him up, tosses him some boots, and it's like, all right, soldier, it's time to. You've actually got work to do. You soft artist type who's never killed anyone. And so I think there's just like this, the cool stuff derives from an insanity that is, comes from loneliness and longing, the loneliness and longing of being a dead and walking amongst the living.
No, you mentioned too that like, the soft, what'd you say? The soft artist type. It's even more because you look at who Eric Draven is in the movie. Like very pretty boy musician in like a alternative or goth band or some shit like that.
Right.
And you look who Eric Draven was in the comics, he's just a blue collar schmo. It's like, yeah, I can see that guy going and just fucking murdering people. I don't see the soft musician man murdering people, but I believe it in the context of this world. I believe it in the context
exactly.
of this world.
Well, they show you why they do not waste any time showing you why he would be upset, why he would be angry.
Yeah.
Again, they don't waste any time because, I think it's important to compare and contrast. We'll talk about the other sequels later because I think they're mostly just replications of the first one. But the new one spends so much time wasting your time trying to tell you about the plot. You start talking about the plot, you start going, that's stupid. But like the
plot gets in the way of the story.
For sure. Exactly. They don't waste any time getting to the meat in the original one where it's just right to it. Oh, they did that. Okay, well, he's back. I'm rooting for you, bud. So, yeah.
Austin, since we're kind of on the topic of comparing and contrasting, now that you've actually seen the new Crow, what is your impressions? You're not as as deeply tied to this franchise as say Jason or even me to a much lesser extent, but you had seen Alex Proyas' original film, which is the topic of this episode, and then you've seen the Rupert Sanders whatever. Where are you sitting? You have the Crow being so new to you, you probably have a completely different perspective on all of this.
Yeah, since because you're right, I'm not super attached to the original because I just watched it this year, although I do really enjoy the original. So going into the new one today, I watched them basically back to back today, and going into the new one, I knew, you guys had briefly mentioned it when we recorded it the first time and how you guys weren't fans, and that you were both kind of hoping that maybe the fans would be wrong and this would be a great movie. And I think this movie worked in certain ways, and then it completely failed in many other ways. Like the fact that I do enjoy, because one of my problems with the original is like we don't get any time with Eric and
Shelley.
Shelley, you're right. I wish there was a little bit more establishing connection between them so I could relate to them or whatever, and we don't really get that, but they don't waste any time getting into the revenge, which I really like. And on the other hand, you get this time with Eric and Shelley in the new one, but it's fucking so boring and pointless. And they meet
fucking
they meet in rehab or wherever they are, and they've known each other for maybe a day or two. Yeah. Maybe there's no real time there, and then she goes to leave because people are after her, and then he's like, "I'll go with you." I get it. Trauma bonding. It's real. It's a thing. I totally get immediate connection with another person.
Yeah.
I get it. I totally understand. But then going so far to be just like, oh, I'm in love with her to the point where I want to get revenge for someone I've barely known. If I had met my wife, when I first met her, 5 or 6 years ago and had known her for like a week or two and she died, like, would I be hell-bent on revenge? No. I mean, it's just such a weird thing. Now, after 7 years of being together, fuck yeah, I'd be I'd be ready to go fuck somebody up. But, you know, if you've known someone for such a short period of time, it's crazy to have all this energy into wanting to avenge them. What I do think the remake got right, and not even in terms of story, because I don't know the original story, I think the third act is pretty solid, you know, for what it is. There's a lot of good gore, CG and all. I really like the whole fighting, you know, to the opera music. I think that's really fun. There is some decent imagery in it, but it wastes too much time. I mean, we're an hour into the remake before the revenge killing starts happening, and it's almost fucking 2 hours. And, you know, in the original, you're 20 minutes in and he's fucking people up. So it's more about the revenge in the original. And this one, they're like having to fucking ham fist you this plot that we already know, that you don't have to explain again. Why are we explaining this again? And it just doesn't make any sense. And especially, it would have been so much better if the remake wasn't called The Crow and just was a completely separate entity, because I like the story of this guy making a deal with the devil and killing innocent people so he can live forever. That's a fucking cool plot point. That is incredible. I love that. But it's wasted on putting it into remaking The Crow. And if my knowledge serves me correct, because I did some research, that is not a part of The Crow in any capacity.
Now, this like weird Faustian Orpheus kind of Dante thing, where he falls in love with her after a week. He goes to get his revenge on her, but then he like watches a fucking video on the phone and he's like, I don't know if I love her. Oh no, it hurts again. I'm
feeling my feelings.
Man. Yeah, that's the thing is like by the time he actually gets to like Crow, like, because why are we here for Crow stuff? We're here for Crow stuff. It's like, could you imagine? No, you can imagine, because it exists. You know why Dredd 2012 works? Because he starts in the helmet, he stays in the helmet, he fucks shit up within 20 minutes in the helmet. He's doing Dredd stuff from the get. The reason why Judge Dredd with Rob Schneider sucks, besides the whole Rob Schneider of it all, is because dude takes his helmet off and he's like, I am the law. As Sylvester Stallone. He wants everyone to know that he's Sylvester Stallone playing Judge Dredd. We don't get to the dreading until later in the movie. It's pointless and annoying. The reason why as Michael said earlier, I don't understand Rupert Sanders like he knows how to do imagery. He understands symbols. He doesn't understand what any of it means. You brought up the horse. The horse is my favorite part, because when I started watching this thing, I was like, oh shit, he got the horse. Oh man, he's got the horse. He's doing something with the horse. Because in the book is an important part of in the book, the horse is an important part of the book, where clearly man's working through his grief. Like, it's the dude, he's on a train. He's clearly like making his way through death. He's looking out the window. There's horses grazing, and then a horse gets caught in the barbed wire. And then he can't do anything about it, and he watches it writhing against the barbed wire. And it's like, oh no, I can't do anything about it. Do you get it? Oh gosh, so powerful, so poetic. And it's like, yeah, that's powerful in the context of the book, because then it shows him, alone in his room, his death office or whatever. In the movie, it has the horse. It opens up with the horse with barbed wire. And I'm like, shit, oh man, you get it. You're doing something with this. And then he doesn't do a single thing except use the struggle of the horse as like a loose metaphor later for his struggle, but he only brings it up later. As you said, it looks like he read the book once and was like, hey guys, throw this in. Won't that be cool? But that's not what we're looking for in this story. I just want you to do the story. And I don't want you to make it, I don't need you to make it more interesting. I don't need you to make it more mythological. I don't need you to throw in, like, again, the Orpheus thing where you got to, like, go to hell to save your woman, to save your partner. I don't need a Faustian thing. I don't need any of that. Like you said, Austin, like I'll watch that in another movie for sure.
Yeah.
But that's not why I go to
Absolutely.
see The Crow. I go to see The Crow
No.
to watch somebody suffer a horrifying death, get real mad about it. Like, it's so, like, a death so powerful, it shakes the underworld and brings you back so you can go, they can correct their little oopsies. That's what I go to Crow stuff to see. And that's when you start adding like The Crow Salvation, the third one, adds a corruption cop plot. You got to find out who set him up for murder and had him executed, and then he's got to come back and figure that out. I don't need Detective Crow. I don't need that. I don't. That's if I want the world's greatest detective, I'll get Batman. He can do his crow shtick. But that's like not
The crowing.
right. Yeah, the dark feather. I don't need that in the TV show. To make a TV show work, they had him like doing jobs and paying rent. Like, guys? What are we doing here?
Missing the point.
So if I can kind of stew everything down to its basic premise,
give me the slot.
What we're going for here, so in screenwriting terms, there's two things. There's one, something called the promise of the premise. It is the promise that you as the audience are going into hoping for. It's the shit that from the trailer that got you invested. And there's also another thing called a story contract. And when you break a story contract is when you go against the story that was being laid out. Breaking of a story contract is not always a bad thing, but it more than often is. There was a promise of the premise for The Crow, and we didn't get it. And it's also an interesting thought process, Austin, where you talked about how watching the original Crow, you wanted more of Shelley and Eric. But it's also kind of a great lesson that sometimes what you think you want isn't. Because you
100%. I wanted more. I got it, and I fucking hated it. So it's like, maybe I don't need that.
Alex Proyas and his team, they took tragedy and made it into something that made the original film so memorable. The scenes between Eric and Shirley are so short because Brandon Lee died before they could finish shooting them.
Yeah, I think I think I remember us talking about that last time. So they probably would have done a little bit more, I'm sure, had he not passed away. So, but honestly, I appreciate the original and how they told the story more after watching the remake.
Yeah,
you think what I wanted, and I'm like, you know what? I don't need this actually. I'm good with how they did it in the original one.
Like, she's now just kind of a ghost haunting the entire film that you've only seen in bits and pieces. And you really need Brandon Lee's extremely nuanced, wonderful performance to fill in the rest.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to get really nerdy here for a second, but it's the idea of upscaling television. You know, you take an image that's made out of 480 pixels, you spread it across, 1080. There's going to be blank spots because there's not enough shit there to fill the image. So it has to fill it in using artificial intelligence and shit like that. Brandon Lee's performance is filling us in for all the stuff that we aren't seeing between him and Shelley. And he is our narrator in that way. And we have to go on the roller coaster with him because we don't have superior position on that.
Yeah, and I think that's what, and it's funny because the first time I did watch it, I wasn't 100% sold on Brandon Lee. I thought he did a good job, but watching it again, knowing the character a little bit more and kind of knowing what to expect, I really enjoyed his performance this time, and especially after watching the remake, because I love not Alexander Skarsgård, fucking Bill Skarsgård. And I felt like he was fucking wasted in the remake. He was he's so talented and he's so incredible, but he just, it felt like he could have
crowed the fuck out of that movie.
He really could, and I felt like they wasted him as an actor.
I don't understand.
He is not hitting like he normally does.
I do not understand how you cast somebody almost so perfect physically.
Yeah.
And like just as a physical presence and as a physical actor, because he's a really talented physical actor, as evidenced by Boy Kills World, which is not a good movie, but he does a lot of physical action work in it, as evidenced by his work in brief work even in John Wick 4. He's a good actor. He's perfect for this role. He looks like the comic book dude. There is no reason for it to be as bad as it is. He does nothing, is given nothing. Fuck me, dude. And the third act, again, is great, but like the third act has nothing to do with the movie.
Right. Yeah. And even when he gets the, he does have some small makeup on, like when he's got the eyeshadow and the like the black coming down to his mouth, like it looks great, and the full fucking leather jacket with no shirt underneath, it looks great.
Right.
It's incredible. And then it's just like, it's not giving me any sort of pleasure, except for the opera scene. I was like, man, this is a really cool gory scene. I like this. And then the whole ending battle, I was like, I don't know.
I beat it into the ground. That I beat the horse. It's because I was talking about the thing. I think that I'm a casual watcher of shit, and I have when I'm watching something and I have too many questions about why a thing wasn't done. Yeah. Oh yeah, the dead horse that I kick is the mania of being reborn thing. There's none of that. And I don't want to spend this whole time. I would like to spend more time talking about how good the first one is than how bad this one is. But again, contrast. But I have questions about why didn't you put the makeup on this way? I have questions about why did you kill them this way? I have questions about why aren't you freaking out? Why aren't your friends freaking out? I have questions about why you're not going back to this place and why you're not wearing the coat this way. And I have so many questions watching this movie about why anything's happening, and it's all just so sloppy. Like you were like a third grade or fourth grader was assigned to do a history report and just read the book the night before and wrote something sloppy over the course of 3 hours before they had to get some sleep before getting to school. It is so lazy with its use of lore and how it just picks off the dead corpse of the IP itself and off of random mythology it also doesn't understand. Just whack. And you know what? It's like Alien Romulus. It's like the same thing as Alien Romulus. All you got to do is put the elements together in an interesting way, and I'm there for it. I'll even tolerate you quoting one of the movies inside this new movie for no reason if it's interesting, you know what I mean? And I'm talking to you. Get away from her, you bitch. I've never been more mad, but also got over my anger for that movie as quickly as I did in Alien Romulus. But it's the same shit. We got a lot of that slop this year. The Crow, Alien Romulus, Deadpool and Wolverine is even a little bit like that. It just didn't hit those elements correctly. And if you're going to do a legacy, quote unquote legacy sequel, do it right.
Yeah. It's literally, and I say this about The Shining, but it's completely polar opposites. I say this about The Shining, Stanley Kubrick, it's like he read a chapter here to chapter there. I was like, all right, good enough. Let me do this, but made a masterpiece. It's like they did the same thing with The Crow. It's like he read this and that. I was like, all right, shush, that's enough. I got this. But then made a completely just awful movie. It's just so bizarre because you guys said, he hits a lot of the beats from the book, which I haven't read, but then does all this other random shit. So it's like, how do you find that balance of being so true to the source material, but also straying so far away from it? That just blows my mind.
We were
I don't even get.
We were talking about Matt Reeves' Batman kind of briefly there, and I think that that's an example of doing that. You can do that. That's maybe my favorite Batman movie now, and it's so Elseworldsy. It's so left of center, but it understands the characters more than a lot of the quote unquote more accurate versions of that character. You know what I mean? Zack Snyder's Batman was pretty accurate, but did you enjoy it? No. I think that the Batman understands the character, even though it takes them into places that you would have never thought it went to, but it's actually a more accurate telling of it than we've gotten the whole time. It's more the animated series than I remember it being. It's so good. It's so good, but it's a remix of that lore. And you can do that if you do it intelligently, if you do it respectfully. That's what's happening with the implosion of the Star Wars fandom. Is I get it, man. Some of the Star Wars stuff isn't as bad as people are saying it is, and some people are snobby, but also some of it's real bad and is messing with something that a lot of people are being alienated from that spent a lot of time, really supporting it. So where do you find the fine line?
It's interesting though. What I've kind of like dissected from what you're saying, Jason, is accuracy doesn't make a good fucking movie. We've now at a point in nerd culture where we're getting better adaptations of some of these characters than we probably would have ever gotten in the past. Say what you want about the Marvel films, but they've had a phenomenal run in the movies, better than you would have expected based on the Dolph Lundgren Punisher and Captain America and some of the other shit. But you see it more and more now, and this even goes with book adaptations where people are like, well, that's not accurate. That's not accurate to the book. That's not accurate to the comic book. But how often does that accuracy really going to make the movie any better? You look at some of these things, like you said, Zack Snyder's Batman is probably one of the more comic book accurate movies. But then you got something like Tim Burton's Batman, which at the time was not comic book accurate, and it's so much more fucking fun. And if we look at, I'm not going to talk about the emotional side of, say, the new 2024 Crow because it's not there, but violence-wise, that movie is far more accurate to the comic book than the Alex Proyas movie. But the Alex Proyas movie, he is trying to capture the spirit of the Crow and is trying to be accurate to that instead of all these minute little details that I feel like aren't as important to the Crow as that spirit, that feeling inside that the movie's supposed to give you.
It's got to hit you on some sort of emotional level, and the new one just doesn't. The original hits you on that level of connection, emotion, whatever you want to call it. It just, I honestly really felt nothing watching the remake, except for a little bit of joy when all the blood and carnage happened. But watching the original one, you connect to it in a way that the new one just, you can't. At least I don't think any of us did, so.
I think that, first off, I think that the Alex Proyas one is actually more accurate, is a pretty accurate adaptation of the comic book, with just a little bit of a sheen on it, especially.
I meant his fucking, the violence of because the comic book is extremely fucking violent, and I noticed that in the new one. Whereas the Alex Proyas one was probably as violent as it could be in the 90s. But
for sure,
I do agree that I think Alex Proyas' film is more accurate in more ways.
Before I forget, I'm going to answer the art or the adaptation accuracy thing. I think that you got to choose a side. If you're not going to do it accurately, well, you got to do it interestingly. You got to have a clever twist on it. It's got to be good enough, and recognizable enough. You got to recognize some of it.
Like Super Mario Brothers.
I think that Super Mario Brothers is an accurate adaptation of a pretty loosely defined video game.
Fair
right?
enough.
Like if you can apply the plot, it's wacky. But you can see where they were trying to apply the plot of Super Mario Brothers to this cyberpunk world. But like if you also you can't just hide behind slavish accuracy either, especially if you're not good at what you're doing. And I can't think of a good example of that. But I mean, Zack Snyder, I don't want to use Zack Snyder as a punching bag, but like his Batman was pretty comic accurate. Also, he sucked. So, like, we got a warehouse scene, and that was fun, but also his Batman sucked. And, like, those movies weren't great. And so you can, Zack Snyder again. Watchmen is an example of a comic book movie that is devoted
Yeah.
aesthetically to the comic book it's basing itself on, but misses the point so completely. It's hilarious, and I think it ruined a generation of comic book fans. No big deal. And destroyed a generation of media literacy. But whatever, you got to figure out which one you want to do. And I'm more in the camp as like, as long as I recognize what you're trying to do and what you're trying to adapt. Like, again, the Batman is something that, and the Crow, we're going to swing it back to that. I recognize what it is you're trying to adapt, and I enjoy your take on it. To Austin, your point about it could be any other movie. I don't recognize that you're making a Crow movie when I'm watching the new one.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's a lot of the properties of the Crow that came out afterwards. I don't recognize them as Crow stuff until you kind of like force Crow stuff into it.
Yeah. Basically.
There is, and I think the point where we keep coming back to is just that there is this singular genius to the production of the original one, because it took a specific vision, and that's Alex Proyas and his writers and his director of photography and all these guys and everyone putting their all into it, and of course, Brandon Lee, to make this thing that is absolutely fucking ridiculous and make it serious and make it timeless, and
to make it sincere.
There you go. That's fucking nailed it. You nailed it. Since the sincerity of it is something you don't get in adaptations anymore. You usually get like an edgy snarkiness. Ooh, did I do that? Kind of Marvel humor. Look what just happened. Ooh. The sincerity of it is so overwhelming. Like, all my hormones are gone. I drained them out. I don't feel the same way. I don't like, ooh, the poetry of violence. Oh, look, it's so beautiful. Okay? I still went and saw it in theaters for its re-release. And I was like, this is the greatest thing that's ever been made. I was so caught up in it. My partner wanted to, like, she came along, supportive of my dreams. And she wanted to make fun of it for plenty of valid reasons. And she like hit my arm to do that, and I gave her this look that was like, "Not now." No, I'm locked in. This edible is kicking in. This is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. This man will have his vengeance, and I will probably cry, and you will not mock me. You shh. Here's a hot dog.
Shut up! Shut!
Yeah, right. And I was just, it overwhelms you because you want to make fun of it. It's so silly. It's overly sincere. It's like someone playing the Black Parade to you while you're trying to sleep sometimes. It's just a lot. It overwhelms. It's so good. It overwhelms its goofiness. And that's so hard to do. You know what I mean? Like, just every single part of it is just so, to your words, sincere that you just can't help but buy into it, man. It's so good. Man, it's good. Mm-hmm. It's just so good. It's just good.
Yeah. So one thing that I wanted to talk on before we, figure out how this show is going to end is I think about this often. And once again, this was never intended to be a compare and contrast piece, but you can't.
You have to. You have to. It's because it's daring you to.
One of the things I feel like works so well with Brandon Lee's performance is he's not just being fucking sad and melodramatic alone. He's got these phenomenal window characters.
For sure, yeah.
Who allow him to... So for those of you who might not know, a window character is a person who the character is allowed to confide in and is a window to their soul. Ernie Hudson and Rochelle Davis as Sergeant Albrecht and Sarah respectively give him an opportunity and give the audience an opportunity to feel something. Not to say that, if Bill Skarsgård would have had a window character, it would have worked. It wouldn't have, but it's not just Brandon Lee as the Crow. You have this phenomenal supporting cast of window characters, interesting villains. Like, Nothing against Danny Houston. He is a phenomenal actor. He could be a phenomenal bad guy. He's not right in this movie.
He's supposed to be the devil or whatever, selling your soul or whatever. Sell your soul or whatever. He was he's killing people, whatever. It was whatever. It was who cares? I think what's so interesting about it too is, like, for me, we're talking about Bill Skarsgård being a physically gifted actor. FKA Twigs is an incredibly physically talented person. Her entire background is dance, long form dance videos. She comes from schools of arts. I think that she would have actually been a far more interesting Crow character than than Bill Skarsgård. I think they maybe could have both done it, but FKA Twigs, if you're going to waste a character, I mean, at least make it interesting and swap it a little, because she, again, phenomenal dancer and artist, and it would have been interesting to see her work it. Although, to be fair, if it was the same script, doesn't matter because it sucked. But that's what also makes The Crow great, is the villain, Michael Wincott, one of the classic generational voices. His incredible,
he's so good,
perfect part wig that he's wearing. He's just so good. Tony, top dollar. It's, his minions are all perfectly, like, their power levels are all perfectly set. The hierarchy is so well established. Tony Todd as the second big bad, and then all the way down.
Like, you have David Patrick Kelly, who has made a career for playing pieces of shit.
Wait, where's Tony Todd? I'm so sorry to interrupt. Did I miss Tony Todd? He's in this.
Yeah.
Tony Todd is Top Dollar's right-hand man. He wasn't actually part of the killing, but he's like the facilitator. He's like the consigliere of Top Dollar. He's the one who.
All right.
He's the one who harasses Gideon after his shit burns down.
I cannot believe I never made that connection. That
he's
was
looking
fucking
real
Tony
smooth
Todd.
in the movie too. He doesn't.
Oh
okay.
yeah, and he's not playing up the Tony Toddness of his
that's
personality.
Fine. Okay, wow. Continue. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
But that's just the cast. The cast is so good. It's filled with guys like that, with Tony Todd and Michael Massey, and Ernie Hudson, all putting in great work. Again, in a movie that doesn't need it, but it really has it. The miniatures that they use to film the city, the score is incredible. It just is. But yeah, again, all of it comes down to Brandon Lee. You were talking about the nuance of his performance. It's the nuance of, like, the mania of resurrection, with feeling sad that he's actually, can't be with his fiance, to anger. I mean, like, when I think of that Gideon scene, I don't know if we're going to talk about favorite scenes. That's my favorite scene because it goes through the whole emotional arc of the film in like 4 minutes. It's great.
Which one? The one in the pawn shop?
The one in the pawn shop, yeah.
That gasoline I smell?
Exactly.
Oh, fucking great.
But, like, right before that, he was going through that box of rings, and you're like, damn, I feel like I feel why this guy is so pissed off right now. And then he pours the rings in, and you're like, cool. Wait, sad. Wait, angry. Wait, yeah, cool. Yeah, you get what you deserve, Gideon.
Glass cage of emotion.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
I think one of my favorites, if we're on favorite scenes real quick.
Oh, yeah, let's just go to our Thrill House moments. Fuck
okay.
it.
So the Thrill House moment was the one we just talked about. When I actually kind of have two. It's the one where he's like, do I smell gasoline? And then he had that huge, completely unsafe explosion that probably burned some of these.
So unsafe.
Yeah, so unsafe.
Love it.
And then my other kind of, when I got even more locked in, was the car going off the dock. That explosion was also great. A lot of great explosions in this movie. Whole scene is driving, and he's like, what do you want? He tapes his mouth shut and throws him off the edge. But my favorite scene, because this was like well into the movie, my favorite scene is Top Dollar, when Gideon is in the chair and he stabs him with like the fucking sword of Elendil from Lord of the Rings. And then approximately 5 seconds later, he's like, why won't you die? That's the fucking greatest. I love that scene so much. He has no patience for this man to just bleed out and die. He has to shoot him 3 times in the chest. after stabbing him. It's such a great scene. I love that. Michael Wincott as Top Dollar is unhinged brilliance.
The impatience of evil. Yeah, I love the. Come on, man. I got shit to do.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Could you die quicker, please?
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah,
good stuff.
Yeah, there's just so much. Again, it's so easy to like make fun of and mock as kind of like because of the hot topification of the entire thing. But it is so like every scene is filled with things like that where it's like this is so cool, or this is so sad, or I really feel for this, or that death scene is so cool when he starts reciting poetry at him, and then he puts the tape over his mouth. Oh man, just good stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah.
So for me, I got two. I have the one on my most recent watch, and then the one when I was a kid.
Sure. Okay.
I just had a memory of that. So we'll start with that. So when I was a kid, the scene that I always thought was the most fucking badass shit I ever saw that really locked me into this movie was when they fucking lit the crow insignia on fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
I was like, oh, whatever journey this movie's taking me on, I'm ready to ride it.
Yeah.
But then the way I felt this most recent time, was like I mentioned it earlier, Brandon Lee crawling out of the fucking grave in the rain, like bisexual crush hardcore on that scene. It's like, oh, I think I just fell in love with Brandon Lee. It's big, it's operatic without having to play opera music. It's just beautiful. I love in Tim Burton's book, Burton on Burton, he talks about the aesthetic he was going for Sleepy Hollow, where it had this almost natural like surrealism to it, where he would shoot he would shoot exteriors really outside, but add things to it to make it feel like a set. And the way that entire cemetery looked, it wrote this line, it's like, is this a set? Is this real life? I don't give a fuck, and I'm just in.
I love it.
Yeah, because it sells the it needs you to believe it's real, but it doesn't expect you to demand realism. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like it's absolutely rooted in fantasy, but it's like, I buy this, I buy it, yeah.
I'll buy that for $1.
Whereas the new one, again with the contrast thing, is like the new one it needs you to believe it's real, but breaks its own rules. So you never get it. You never get to suspend your disbelief.
Hard agree.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So before we wrap up for the night, is there any parting thoughts you have about the Crow franchise, Brandon Lee, whatever? Let's start with you, Austin.
I'm going to circle it back to the contrast between the two. Sometimes more is not better. Sometimes a lesser explanation can be more effective in connecting you with the characters, because I didn't feel like I connected enough with the characters to care about what happened to them in the original. And then I saw the remake and I was like, you know what? The way they did it in the 94 version was exponentially better. And you kind of have to, like you mentioned earlier, Michael, is kind of just watch Brandon Lee go through all of this. And that's kind of my parting thought is, more is not always better. Simplicity can work more effectively.
Beautifully said. Yeah. Jason, final thoughts.
I mean, we didn't really get into the sequels. We didn't really get into like the other, like the franchise of it all.
All right, you got 5 minutes. Go.
5 minutes. I feel like I'll go back to something I said earlier. It's like I feel like we've been really. First off, we don't give enough credit to this film for kickstarting, serious comic book adaptations. But I feel like we've been chasing the high of the moment of how this film came together. The way it looks, the way it feels, the way it sounds, the way it impacted a generation. the way it was able to be marketed, even though it's about something so sad. There's something about it that is just so uniformly powerful that we've been trying to replicate, trying to feel again. People do it all the time. You know, I love Marvel, man. I love DCEU. I'll watch it all. Justice League might be the closest I've come to it, but there's very few things that I watch that still make me feel. It's not just nostalgia, as powerful or as that are as impactful while I'm watching it as The Crow. It's truly just one for the ages, man. It's just a stone cold masterpiece. I can't recommend it enough. I could talk about it for hours, man. I just think there's something so interesting about it. I think that they just don't make them like they used to. And the difference between the two is really, you can read it as an indictment of how movies are made now. And the process, a lack of clear understanding of what people want from their narratives. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I think
dude. Caw, bang, fuck, you're
what
dead.
I would say.
It's a cool scene.
I think it is a cool scene. I think if people really want to do a Crow double feature, start with the remake. And then right when you're good and frustrated, put on the original one and it'll just wash over.
Will blow your fucking mind.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If you try to watch any of them, even the second one is beautiful, but it is a disaster. But you just go back and watch the original one. And it's crazy the difference in quality between that one and even the one with a budget, the new one. But all of them, it's like it's nuts again how hard we've tried to get that sweet, sweet Crow buzz.
Well, we can always be hopeful
Crow crap
for the future.
Sure, yes.
All right, well, let's get this wrapped up. Austin, tell us a little bit about Frightmares. Where can people find you?
Oh man, anywhere podcasts are sold, you can find me. Frightmares Podcast. We are a horror podcast doing themes every month. I don't know when this is going to be released, but in November we're doing Paranovember, where we are doing paranormal movies. We actually have 2 director interviews. One from Joko Anwar, director of Satan's Slaves and the most recent Grave Torture that came out this year, and then another with Eduardo Sanchez, director of Blair Witch Project, of the Blair Witch Project. So it's going to be it's an excellent month for interviews. And then in December we're doing Christmas theme, as we always do, and Michael will be on Christmas Evil from 1980. It's going to be a blast. Check us out on socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Slasher app, all at Frightmares Podcast.
Hell yeah. And it's a good fucking listen. Even the episodes I'm not on, but the ones I am on,
highly recommend.
Fucking gold. Jason Hillman, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I am an Aquarius. I love long walks on the beach, just to check on where I buried the bodies. Tied, ha ha ha. I mean, you can check me out. You can find me on Instagram. You can type my name in, but it's also LMNHILL Studios. LMNHILL Studios. I am one half of the Dead-Eyed Millennial Media Club, where we do TV shows, movies, music, games, other stuff that you both grew up with, and some special episodes for more recent stuff. Right now we're in the second part of our Robin Williams retrospective on 2002, where he broke bad. We've already released our Death to Smoochie. This next release is going to be about 1 hour photo. And then we're going to be talking about Insomnia. So just miss that guy. But then we also have some episodes about Sing Sing, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Pain and Gain is coming up soon, especially, which is a really good episode. I would have
loved to have been on that one.
Maybe we'll have you again on that again, because we're going to do a retrospective. Probably going to do a part 2 on that.
I'll watch as many movies if I have to.
Because Pain and Gain rules. and it's never been more relevant. So you can find that on all major platforms: Apple, Spotify, Podcast-orama, so on and so forth. Jedi Millennial Media Club, Film Club, TV Club, so on and so forth. Again, my work is at LMNHILL Studios, Jason Hillman. You can type my name into YouTube. There's some comedy. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know when this is coming out. I'll be performing around town. I'll be performing at Comedy Sports on the 9th of
you didn't tell me about that.
November. This probably won't be out by then. This will be long after that. I can assure you it was an amazing show. I was hilarious, and you're sad that you missed me. I'm so sorry for you. That's on you. That's you should have been paying attention the first couple of times around. You got to get your shit together. I'm Jason Hillman, though. Thank you all. You find me anywhere. Just type my name in, Jason Hillman. Goodbye now, I guess.
Oh, he signed off for himself. He's done.
I'm still here. Guys. I didn't know how to get out of that.
That's half of that's me a lot of the times. I don't know how to get out of something, so I just pass the fucking duchy to someone else. Yeah. Anyways, my name is Michael Viers. At this point, everyone listening to this should know where to find me. I'm Shameless Picture Show on all forms of social media, but realistically, find me, Michael Viers, V as in Victor, IERS. That's where the magic happens. You can find me on Letterboxd at Viers102008 if you want to keep up with the all sword and our sword and sorcery theme that Amanda and I have created, that I've dubbed November Ending Story. You can see how I feel about a lot of these movies by keeping track of me on Letterboxd and Instagram. At this point, we would have finished November. You have to listen. You have to go find my reviews to see how I felt, and then add them all up and create an average to see, where that rating lands. What you're going to do with that information, I have no clue. I'm not your father.
You want me to do math?
I appreciate you guys.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Appreciate you both for coming on. I always enjoy having both of you on this show. Next season, I'll have to get you both on some more, especially because Jason, me and you got a lot of shit we want to watch. Yeah, thanks a lot. Come back next time. Shame Place, Shameless Picture Show. And then an extra special thanks to fellow podcaster and friend of the show, Austin Proctor, who actually had edited this episode. So if you want to support Austin Proctor and everything he does, be sure to check out the Frightmares Podcast. I am a occasional co-host on that show, but he does one of my favorite podcasts about the horror genre, and it should be one of your favorite podcasts too. So thanks a lot for Austin Proctor for editing this episode.
The Shameless Picture Show is recorded in Milwaukee, Wisconsin and Easton, Maryland, and is hosted and produced by Nick Richards and Michael Viers. Today's episode was edited by Michael Viers. Our opening theme music was written especially for us by The Directionals, with narration by Zach McLean. The end credit music you're enjoying at the moment was generously provided by my friends in the band 10 Speed. The Shameless graphic design is masterfully done by Amanda Viers. An extra special thank you to all of our Patreon supporters and to our generous sponsors. We are on Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, Google Play, and Libsyn. You can find links for all these amazing people in the description below.